Hi, everybody. This is Dan Stolbarger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East update. We'll be reviewing last week, the week of August 14th. Just a reminder that there is a PDF PowerPoint that accompanies this short YouTube, and you can get that at our website at holygroundexplorations.com, or it should just be a link on our YouTube page. So, what's going on? Well, we know that we had this 4-day or so all-out war between the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and then Egypt came to the rescue in a sense and basically created or helped cobble together a ceasefire. Keep this in mind. Right after Lapid stressed his thanks for Assisi's cooperation in cobbling this ceasefire together, Egypt berates Israel and the United Nations. And again, on and on and on. So it's sort of like everybody's in this for what they can get out of it, and Israel really does not have rock solid allies that they can lean on. Just always keep that in mind. It was actually a 3-day war. The ceasefires held, but again, terrorism still, as we know, continues. This is our breaking news, not breaking news. Sometimes I get tired of hearing that. Everybody's got breaking news, breaking news. We just call this our news bite. So just some small things, actually quite large things, but short in duration that we want to talk about. So again, this last week, Iran launched a satellite into space. It was on Tuesday, using a Russian rocket. The rocket was launched in Russia itself, Kazakhstan, I think it's called, with both Iranian and Russian officials in attendance. And we're seeing this coalition forming and strengthening the ties of Russia and Iran. And of course, we already have talked about this coalition of Russia and Turkey, put Iran into that mix, and yet a couple more, and you basically just have all the major parties of Ezekiel 38 and 39 coming into crystal clear focus on their hatred of Israel. What else? After a flare-up last week, with this whole ceasefire thing and how quickly it came to an end, we'll talk about that in a moment. The Ayatollah of Iran, basically is going to tell the terror group that, quote, Iran still is standing with you. And he's going to downplay, because we know that Hamas did not jump into the fray, which is the reason why this ended so quickly. But keep in mind that the Islamic Jihad party is wholly owned, and it's a subsidiary of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. There is no doubt about it. They command the operations, and it used to just be seen as a nuisance in the Gaza Strip, but this week has shown that it has truly amassed an arsenal capable of presenting Israel with massive security challenges. One thing for certain is that Iron Dome, it's amazing that over 1,000 rockets were launched, and the effectiveness of Iron Dome. Never want to underestimate that gift, that force that Israel possesses. But still, we need to wrap our heads around 1,000 rockets being sent. What countries do you know that it would accept thousands of rockets and then enter into a ceasefire a few days later, just knowing that in Arabic, ceasefire simply means what? Reloading. Okay, major articles, only a couple this week. Pay for slay. Since we've talked about terrorism, it was earlier in this month, August 9th, which is the anniversary or the memorial of 21 years for the attack on the Sbarro pizza restaurant in Jerusalem. 15 people were murdered, including 5 members of one family. 130 people were injured. And then this is that concept of pay for slay. As you can see in the PDF, the photo of the terrorist itself that blew himself up. Again, as a reward for carrying out this attack, the Palestinian Authority pays this family a total of, it's now amassed to be over $1,400,000 in totality over the last 21 years. Pay for slay. Don't tell me it doesn't exist. Over $1 million has been given. And again, we wonder why terrorism doesn't end. We just read about this recent terrorist strike in Jerusalem where a Palestinian shot into a bus. And then what? He flees the scene, but he turns himself in. Why do you think he turns himself in? Martyr? No, he didn't want to die. You know, Israel has a way of neutralizing the situation, as they put it. So why not go to prison, be seen as a shihad, and start getting massive amounts of monthly stipends for killing or shooting up Jews? It pays to slay. Why so quick? Kind of the last thing I sort of want to talk about. You know, I think we were all usually these Gaza incursion wars last a little bit longer than 3 days, usually at the most maybe a couple weeks, but why so quick? And this is sort of that political ping pong ball that goes back and forth. There's a saying in Israel, and this kind of is why Abbas has been able to stay in power for 17 years. Remember, I think he was elected for a 4-year term, and now he's in his 17th year with no elections. Go figure. And the phrase is usually given, why does Israel put up with this? The phrase is, better the devil you know than the devil you don't know, okay? And it's that sort of concept of we want to know the strength and weaknesses of our enemies, so right there, they're there. And so with Operation Breaking Dawn, though, when we look at a new strategy, why was it over so quick? I find this interesting. It says, with the Islamic Jihad humiliated, its top leaders killed, gone, and its mentor, Iran, approved. They're the ones that approved this quick ceasefire. It's safe to say that Operation Breaking Dawn has been one of the most successful campaigns Israel's ever launched into Gaza. And then it goes on to say this success must serve as a challenge to the outdated conventional wisdom by several Israeli governments of maintaining the status quo, the devil you know concept, and keeping the current leaders. This is the status quo. Let's keep the current leaders in place because you never know who you're going to get if they're gone. Well, Operation Breaking Dawn just decided, no, we're going to take out these terrorist leaders and then we'll deal with whoever replaces them. So it'll be interesting to see the strategy of Israel in moving forward in regards to dealing with Iran's proxies, both the Islamic Jihad and of course Hamas, and of course Hezbollah or whatever. So that's kind of our report. There was a post. I don't know this person, a famous pop star from England. I like her post because more and more there are people that have the guts that are standing up for Israel and not being impacted by BDS rhetoric, the boycott, divestment rhetoric and threats or whatever. So this person just posted this, and I thought it would be good to end on, because again, when you're dealing with terrorism and the resistance against the occupiers, right? That's the rhetoric. This post says it like it is. Shooting 8 Jewish civilians in Jerusalem, leaving 2 critically injured, including a pregnant woman, is not resistance. It's terrorism. Enough said, right? Well, as you all know by now, we're wrapping things up with this upcoming trip. We still have the rest of this week, and we have a few seats left. So if you're interested in walking the land, of being in Israel, not just reading about it, but being in Israel, we strongly ask for your considerations about praying to join us. And again, the dates are September 14th through the 23rd. And not being a real great salesperson, all I'm going to say is a trip to Israel, oftentimes, more times than not, I see massive changes in people in the before and after, what they've thought about, what they have always wanted to experience. They meet Jesus in the land, and it has a significant impact on them. So, you want to meet Jesus? It's all about him. And we would just pray that you'd consider joining us. So that's it for this week. God bless you, and shalom.